I've always believed that the hosts at the Fox propaganda outlet have at least a little bit of a humiliation kink. The way that they let Democrats come on their shows, mock them, embarrass them, prove their lies to be just that. But apparently this is also extending into Donald Trump and the scandal he wants no one talking about, his very obvious cognitive and physical decline, which was brought up on Fox tonight by a host that is exposing Donald Trump using Gavin Newsom's own words, actually. We're going to get into it all and the report that is doing him in. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video. And if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we get into how Newsom through Fox has humiliated Donald Trump and exposed all that is breaking down up here, I want to start with the liberal Fox host praising the mockery from Newsom. It's Jessica Tarlov right here.
As far as the Gavin Newsom of it all, he is not imitating him. He is mocking him. He is holding up a mirror to what Donald Trump does and how he communicates, how ridiculous these 3.5-hour-long North Korean-style cabinet meetings are.
Why was that ridiculous? You can't just say ridiculous and not say why.
Okay, if I came to a meeting, if your team for Gutfeld sat around, right, and you said, I have this idea for a joke, and they said, I've never met a funnier man than Greg Gutfeld. I think Greg Gutfeld is the funniest person.
But you don't have to watch it.
It really is funny that these Republican snowflakes acting in the, I guess, MAGA wokest way possible still don't understand that there's a mirror being held up to them. I guess when you live in your own bubble for so long, any bit of confrontation either just goes right over your head or you can't even take it. And that's what's happening with Gavin right now. They want to say that he's being inauthentic or trying to act like Trump. What Gavin Newsom is doing is just showing how ridiculous Donald Trump is and how much of a cult that MAGA is for going along with it. He doesn't want to be making all caps posts. You'd be ridiculous to think so. You'd be a Fox host for thinking so. He's simply pointing out the hypocrisy. And it's not just on the Trump bleats, it's also on the bad crime data that Donald Trump doesn't want to acknowledge out of red states, which is where Newsom continued his trolling before we get to the health scandal.
If he is to invest in crime suppression, I hope the President of the United States would look at the facts. Just consider Speaker Johnson's state and district. Just look at the murder rate. That's nearly 4 times higher than California's. In Louisiana, this is Speaker Johnson, 4x higher. I'm just offering, again, you've not seen this on Fox News, so President may not be familiar with these facts. So I want to present some facts to the President of the United States, and imagine this is alarming to the President to learn these facts. Mississippi leads the nation as the #1 murder state in America. Imagine this in particular may resonate with the President of the United States. It's got a murder rate, it's 180%. 180% higher than Los Angeles. It's interesting. LA has more people. These are all per capita numbers. More people than Los Angeles. Perhaps the president could deploy the National Guard in every corner of Mississippi. And the fact remains, if the president is sincere about the issue of crime and violence, there's no question in my mind that he'll likely be sending the troops into Louisiana and Mississippi to address the unconscionable wave of violence that continues to plague those states.
As always, Donald Trump is focused on doing anything except for the campaign promises that he made. Donald Trump isn't lowering crime. Red states are filled with it. And if you take out the blue cities that they say are responsible, you get the same numbers, by the way. I don't want to hear any of those arguments from MAGA. It's nonsensical. In the same way that Donald Trump and any MAGA Republican trying to pretend that he is not in cognitive decline is equally idiotic, because Donald Trump clearly is. And of course, Gavin Newsom has been pointing it out, but in doing so, he has gotten Fox to talk about it. Again, one thing that he has taken from Donald Trump is getting attention. That's something that Gavin Newsom has clearly done with these posts, but it's the wrong kind for Fox, because Newsom this week made sure everyone knew that Donald Trump was showing some pretty clear signs of cognitive decline, and Fox was talking all about it.
As the polls demonstrate and bear out, I've got to get your reaction to this. This is Newsom on X. He posted this, and it's really, it shows you the level that he's at, where he's suggesting the president has dementia. I'm not even going to read it, but it's basically him questioning Grok and asking, what is the byproduct of dementia? My question is, does this grow his base at all?
So that post that Fox was referencing was Gavin Newsom asking Grok, the AI of Elon Musk's Twitter platform, do people with dementia repeat false things over and over again? It responded, yes, people with dementia can repeat false statements. Of course, this was alluding to Donald Trump talking about opening up the water in California. Gavin Newsom is getting Fox to discuss whether or not Donald Trump has dementia on air. This is the thing that I always tell Democrats that they need to do more of. And it is what I term insanity immersion. As funny as the Gavin Newsom press account tweets are, that's not how Gavin Newsom honestly wants to be communicating. It is insane, right? It's insane for a good reason, though. So often as Democrats, or elected Democrats certainly, we worry about saying the wrong thing, using the wrong word. Maybe we might hurt someone's feelings. Maybe we might sound a little silly, whatever it might be. It is an idiotic messaging approach that limits us not to just going to platforms, speaking to audiences, but ever actually communicating in a real way. Authentic speech, as y'all know from me, requires you to screw up a lot and to misspeak and to sometimes say something that doesn't make enough sense and then backtrack on it. But ultimately, if you continue to put things out there, they will get picked up. Jasmine Crockett is a perfect example of this. People want to freak out that she uses a bad word here and there. Oh no. Or that she calls Greg Abbott Governor Hot Wheels and say that's a big problem. Oh, we can't use that language. But in doing so, the clip that Jasmine Crockett is calling out Greg Abbott in is amplified. And the clip isn't just her saying he's Governor Hot Wheels and it's a 3-second soundbite. No, it's usually Governor Hot Wheels is stealing away votes from black and brown Texans because Donald Trump asked him to pick up 5 more seats because this is an embarrassing administration that has made the Republican Party more unpopular than ever before in modern American history. And then that soundbite gets played on Fox. In the same way that Newsom, mocking Trump and talking about his very clear cognitive decline, gets played on Fox. Fox is now talking about Donald Trump's cognitive decline because Democrats are pushing the envelope a little bit, or certain Democrats are. But there are too many who want to just hit the way that we should be talking about the talking points. And it's so unnatural and forced, and you can feel it. We don't need to be hitting the talking points. We need to be talking about what people want to be talking about. Speak honestly, truthfully. Don't read the stage directions and say, yes, now I will talk about how Donald Trump is cutting Medicaid. Because if you do that, it doesn't sound like you give a shit about Medicaid being cut, which you should if you are an elected representative in this country. You should. And if you don't do the job. But if you do, then say it and sound like it, please. It is not that difficult to care and to show that you actually do care. Real shit is happening right now. And if you need a page out of the book of someone who can talk like a normal person, it's been the guy who's been doing it the longest. Bernie Sanders actually talking about these issues right here.
Dangerously, President Trump and Health and Human Services Secretary Robert Kennedy are wreaking havoc on our already broken and dysfunctional healthcare system. I love the slogan. It's a great slogan. Make America healthy again. Fantastic. Unfortunately, the Trump administration is doing just the opposite. You don't make America healthy by throwing 15 million people off the health care they have, which is what Trump's big, beautiful bill does. You don't make America healthy by, as a result of these Medicaid cuts, shutting down or creating a decline in services for hundreds of nursing homes, community health centers, and hospitals throughout the country. But it gets even worse than that. Secretary Kennedy has just fired the head of the CDC, Dr. Susan Monterez, who has been on the job for just a few weeks. Her crime? Well, she refused to be a rubber stamp for Kennedy's anti-vaccine conspiracy theories. That is her crime. That's why she was fired. In other words, She believes what virtually the entire medical and scientific community believe, and that is that vaccines are an enormously important public health tool which protect the health and welfare of our children and all Americans. It is a bit absurd to have to say this in the year 2025, but let me say it. Vaccines are safe and effective. Let me say it again. Vaccines are safe and effective. That, of course, is not just my view. Far more importantly, it is the overwhelming consensus of the medical and scientific communities. The American Academy of Pediatrics, the largest professional association of pediatricians in our country, representing over 67,000 doctors who treat our kids every day. They called immunizations, quote, one of the greatest public health achievements, preventing tens of thousands of deaths and millions of cases of disease, end quote. That's the pediatricians. The American Medical Association, the largest professional association of physicians and medical students in our country, representing over 270,000 doctors, along with 79 leading medical societies, recently said that vaccines for flu, RSV, and COVID-19 are, quote, the best tools to protect the public against these illnesses and their potentially serious complications, end quote. The World Health Organization, an agency comprised of some of the most prominent medical experts around the globe, representing 194 countries, found that over the past 50 years, vaccines have saved 154 million lives.
It is that easy, Democrats. Get in front of a camera, look straight, speak your truth, speak the truth, and be real and honest with people. Bernie Sanders has been doing this really longer than anyone, at least in the social media game, which is crazy to say considering that Bernie isn't necessarily of my generation. But authenticity matters. People need to trust you. And what's so great with what Bernie's able to do is that he's never coming back to the same message. He's never trying to loop it in. You know, sometimes as I'm throwing to a clip, like we might hit a hard transition on something. Bernie doesn't really have to do that. Maybe he'd be better at my job on YouTube. But it's like, no, Bernie doesn't have to do that because his message is always Bernie's message. He's going to be talking about affordability. He's going to be talking about how the billionaire class is making your life worse. And when you come from a value set that is undeniable and always rings true and comes out in what you're saying, it's the same thing with Saran. It's easy to get your message across. It does not take some weird bridge or a strange platitude or a strongly worded letter. You just speak. So just speak. That's what we're going to do on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.